Mortgage calculators tell you you can afford way more house than you actually should. I'm going to show you the difference between what the bank will let you borrow and what you should actually borrow. We're going to use a real Washington state income, $80,000 a year scenario, and we're going to do the math on the screen. By the end of this video, you'll know your honest number, not the calculator's max, and you'll know exactly what kind of Vancouver, Washington house that you can buy in 2026. I'm Dustin Hutley with Envoy Mortgage, and this is the part of the conversation that costs people the most when nobody walks them through it carefully. Let me start with the trap. Almost every online mortgage calculator works the same way. You plug in your income, your debt, and your down payment, and the calculator spits out a max purchase price. Now that number is based on what's called your debt to income ratio. The maximum debt to income ratio most lenders allow is around 43% on the back end. Some go up to 50% on certain loan types and others up to 55% depending on the scenario. On an $80,000 a year gross income, that breaks down to about $6,677 a month before taxes. 43% of that is roughly $2,860 a month. That's the calculator's answer for what you can pay every month toward your mortgage plus all the other debts combined. Here's the part the calculator doesn't show you. That's a ceiling, not a recommendation. The bank is telling you the most they'll let you borrow without it being technically reckless on their side. They're not telling you what your life looks like at that number. Let's compare it to your actual take-home pay. On $80,000 gross in Washington with no state income tax helping you, you're looking at roughly $5,200 a month after federal taxes and Social Security. So if your maximum qualified mortgage payment is $2,866, that's about 55% of your take-home pay going to housing every month for 30 years. That's not a budget. That's setting yourself up to feel poor in a house you can technically afford. There's a much older rule that's actually pretty good. It's called the 28-36 rule. Housing under 28% of your gross income. Total debt under 36%. On $80,000 a year, 28% for housing is $1,867 a month. That's the realistic ceiling, not $2,866. So what does $1,867 a month actually buy you in Vancouver today? Here's the math. That $1,867 has to cover everything. Principal, interest, property tax, homeowner's insurance. If you put less than 20% down, mortgage insurance. So let's say property tax at $300 a month, insurance at $100 a month, and then mortgage insurance around $120 a month if applicable. That leaves about $1,350 for actual principal and interest. At today's rate of around 6.6% on a 30-year fixed loan, $1,350 payment supports a loan of about $205,000. Now, if you add a 5% down payment of about $10,500, and the total purchase price you can actually afford on $80,000 a year is somewhere in the range of $220,000 to $260,000. Just depends on the property. The median home price in Vancouver right now is closer to $489,000. So if you're trying to buy at the median, you're nowhere near the right income range, and a calculator that tells you otherwise is probably lying to you. If what I'm saying so far is making sense, hit subscribe. I do these videos every week, and they're the kind nobody in the industry is willing to film. But here's where it gets interesting. Down payment assistance can change the math in two different directions. Direction number one, if you qualify for a Washington down payment assistance program, that $10,500 down payment can be covered by the program, often as a deferred 0% second mortgage that covers that down payment. So you have no money out of pocket and you still get to keep your savings. Direction number two, and this is the one most buyers don't think about. You can take that same $10,500 and use it as a rate buy down instead. 2-1 buy down lowers your rate by 2% in the first year, 1% in the second, then bumps it to the full rate in year 3. That means your year 1 payment looks like a 4.25% rate. In this scenario, your house can feel affordable while your income grows, or you can stack savings. If you stack a down payment assistance program with a buy down, your $80,000 income can stretch to a purchase price closer to $325,000. That's still below the Vancouver median, and it's the realistic range. And there are real houses in that range in Battleground, parts of Ridgefield, in East Vancouver, areas around 4th Plain. I'll also throw in Longview and Kelso area. Now, I want to talk about a few things that change your $80,000 math. The first is a spouse or partner's income. Even part-time income can count if it's documented for 2 years. A spouse earning even $25,000 a year can push your combined qualifying income to about $105,000 and your realistic budget up by another $600 to $700 a month in payment. The second is self-employed or 1099 income. This is its own conversation. If you have a side hustle that brings in real money, your tax return might not show it because your accountant isn't writing it down to minimize taxes. There's a way to qualify based on what's called add backs. Things like depreciation, home office deductions, one-time equipment expenses can be added back into your qualifying income. I've had several self-employed clients whose tax returns showed $52,000. Once we did the add back analysis, his qualifying income came out closer to $88,000 a year. Same exact business. The bank that denied him didn't do the analysis. The third is the 75% rule on rental income. If you own a property that you rent out, lenders typically count about 75% of the rent against your debt to income ratio. It helps offset the mortgage payment. So if you bought a duplex duplex, lived in one side and rented the other for $1,600 a month, the lender would count $1,200 toward your qualifying picture. 75% of $1,600, $1,200. That's how house hacking works for the first-time home buyers who want to build wealth from day one. The fourth, and this is the one I tell every 12 to 18 months out client, plan your taxes around qualification, not just minimization. If you're self-employed, the move that saves you $10,000 on April 15th can cost you $60,000 of buying power the following year. So I would talk to your accountant about it, and if you want us to take a look at it and see what is best for you, we're happy to consult you on that. Some years, paying a little more in taxes is the right move because the house you can buy is worth more than the tax savings. Here's what I tell my clients about the $80,000 salary number. The realistic Vancouver path on that income is somewhere between $220,000, $260,000 without programs, and $300,000, $325,000 with a down payment assistance and buy down stack. That's the honest range. The number a calculator gives you is the bank's number. The number you actually want is your number. They're rarely the same thing. Now here's the deal. I'm not in the business of telling you how to run your life or how to make your budget. We give you the perspective of what the lender is saying, but we want to help align with your goals when it comes to the actual payments. So even if you're qualified for much more than what you're comfortable with, we're not going to push you to go higher, even though the lender's qualifying you for higher. We want to figure out what's the monthly payment that you don't want to go above and find the price point that matches what you want. So that's our goal. If you want me to run your specific math, the link to book a call is in my description. Bring whatever income and debt info you have, and I'll show you the honest range. If today's not your day to buy, we'll figure out which day is. And if today is your day, we'll get the plan locked in. So take care, and we'll see you in the next video.